Hey everyone, this is Jack with Average Consumer, where we answer two questions and two questions only. Is it worth your time and is it worth your money? And this week we're going to be talking about the Koss Porta Pros. Aren't they cute? Anyway, as you can see, they kind of roll up in a very tight, portable configuration. I got the ones from Massdrop because I'm all of a sudden addicted to Koss and Massdrop, and I had to pick these up. Normally, you'll find these in different colors and varieties. You can find them on Amazon or the Koss website or what have you. And they range anywhere from $35 for the old school, built in the 1980s colors with silver and blue and black. These from Massdrop are all black, except for there's like supposed to be some rims on the end here that these are supposed to be like a dark blue. And I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but it's so blue it looks black. So I actually kind of dig these. I think the color looks kind of nice, and I just frankly I don't like a lot of flashy colors. So, but anyway, what do I think of these Koss Porta Pros? Especially when I gave such high marks in my last video to the Koss KSC75s. For those who haven't checked that out yet, I'll just do this in quick summary. The KSC75s are very sparkling, detailed, and probably what I would classify as the gateway drug to high-end audio. These things, the silver version, the very retro looking version, they'll run like $15 all day long on Amazon. Easily the best $15 you can spend in any kind of audio gear, headphones, that type of thing. In fact, my wife has stolen my silver ones. She wears them around the house. She uses them for everything. So I ended up buying the black pair off of Massdrop, and I might do a separate video on the Massdrop version of these because there are some slight differences. But I think what will be most telling is I'm still toying around with the concept or thought of doing a Kramer mod on one of the sets and see if it actually makes a difference and see if it's worth your time. But what I wanted to do is bring these out because a lot of people say that this and this share the same driver. And I don't want to give people that impression because these couldn't sound any more different. They are worlds apart, especially when it comes to the sound and what you're getting out of each of these sets. What is causing that difference? Well, first of all, I do think they do have similar drivers. However, these apparently have a titanium coating on these drivers, and that might have something to do with them being more detailed and more sibilant and very, if any place on the spectrum of these are very lean when it comes to bass. They're not going to have that very deep bass extension. These are high trebles and mids. That's where these are, and they sit there perfectly. That's what you get, a lot of detail. And I think the sound quality difference and the sound difference, I'm not going to say quality difference because that's also a misnomer. But the sound difference here is also probably because these just kind of float on your ears, so they're not pressed on. So you're probably losing some bass there. And there is some difference to the housing when it comes to these type of headphones. I have checked underneath the foam here, the plastic between the driver and your ear and this foam, they're exactly the same between the Porta Pros and these. So between all those things, there is a pretty drastic difference. And if, like I've mentioned before, there is no better $15 to $17 you can spend on headphones than these. These things are brilliant, especially for what they do. So probably never going to give these up. Really, really like those, especially for what they do. If you want some detail, that's what you get. So where do we sit on the Koss Porta Pros? These are, I don't want to call them bass for the bass head because they're not. But what they do is there is a lot, and I mean a lot more bass here. And these are a very warm leaning headphone. And when I say warm leaning, I mean there's enough bass here to impact the mids and the trebles and make them lean back a bit. So if you found these sibilant and a little fatiguing, these might be down your road. I mean, this might be your solution. What I also think is cool is that if you go on Amazon or the Koss website, they range, like you get the retro looking ones with light blue and silver and black. They look very retro, out of like Stranger Things or something. They run about $35, and then you can get into some of the custom or limited colors, and they can go up from there. So they're $50. Well, if you get to go to Massdrop, these run $25. And that's one of the reasons why I picked these up, because for $25, it was curious enough for me to want to give them a try. So, what I said earlier about the sound here, these do have quite a bit more bass, and it's actually quite surprising how much bass is produced out here. I want to make sure that I emphasize the quality of sound you get out of these for $25, even $35, even $50. They are really something that what really pisses me off is that I'm an 80s kid. I grew up in the 80s, and I wish I would have known about these when I was my daughter's age or my son's age, because that's when I was really getting into music, and I had some pretty crappy headphones, just whatever was cheap off the shelf. You know, you were just picking up whatever, everything from tiny earbuds to something like this with the metal band, and but the quality was always garbage, and these would have blown my head right off. I mean, these things sound amazing for the price point. So where do we sit? Treble is still there, laid back considerably, especially compared to these. So there is high end there, and I've actually found that using them for a while, they seem to be brightening up just a little bit. But yeah, the treble is there, but not as dominant as they would be with the KSC75s. The mids, Koss really has some magic going on with the mids. Vocals, guitars, piano. I mean, they really stand out. It's really a good situation there. And a lot of very inexpensive headphones that I've run into really, really lack on the mids, and they're awesome and great on the Porta Pros and the KSC75s. The bass is where these things start to be really interesting to me, because I haven't run into a lot of headphones. Well, I haven't run into any headphones, especially at this price level, that can go this low, produce the bass, and sound this good. Even, you know, with the bass, like I said, it recesses everything else. At times, I almost find some of the bass a little overwhelming, but when I am so used to the KSC75s and my Ship 9500s, which are Philip headphones, which are fairly treble heavy and detailed as well, this is really a nice, pleasant change. And I really have started to see that just like having different tools for different jobs when you're doing any kind of home repair, it's kind of nice to have different sets of headphones for different situations. These are likely going to be the ones that are always in my backpack and with me like most of the time, because they are the most reminiscent of some higher end headphones that I own now that I've grown to really enjoy, and I'm going to probably talk about those here soon. But I can't hate these. I just downright enjoy these. And like I said, what really pisses me off is that I didn't find these sooner. So I would say that for $25 and less, you just can't beat this. And for $17 and less, you can't beat these. And if I could tell you to do anything, I tell you to pick both of them up. They're just great value for what you get. And some of the weird things here that I better point out, because other people have, I'm sure, and you probably are aware of them already, is that this is a really strange headband. And people have complained that your hair can get stuck in here and cause problems. As you can see, I don't really have that problem. So I do find them pretty comfortable, especially how some people have found it a little hard to understand how this little switch here works. But it's naturally on the firm setting, but you can set it to the light. And if you bend this a little bit and push that switch over, it just kind of, I don't know if you can see that there, but it kind of makes this arm swing out a little bit more, so it's not as tight or at such an angle on your head. In fact, I prefer it light, so you can see my head is a little more straight on the sides there. I definitely found that the best sounding and comfort is when I make sure that this top pad is actually resting on my temple a little bit, so that it's not all bent in, or it almost makes sure that the drivers are lined up properly with your ear. So I don't know what else to really say with these. I really appreciate your time. If you found anything here valuable, I ask you to give me a thumbs up, maybe even subscribe. But in my end, where I always answer the two questions, is it worth your time and is it worth your money? I'll say, heck yeah. These are something that anybody who's into audio probably should just have, if anything, out of nostalgia. I kind of dig the looks of these things, and the sound quality, everything is right up there for me. I really like these things, and highly recommend them. So with that, I hope to see you next time. And as a sneak peek, we might be seeing and talking about these. We'll catch you later.